Let's start off by thanking the sponsors. So they're the reason that we're all here today speaking. And please have a walk around, have a chat to some of these. Some of the stuff we're going to talk about today, Q's app, that sort of thing. Landis, anywhere now, their contact center as well. I'm sure they'd love to talk to you about these sorts of features. But yeah, let's dive into a little bit about me. Apologies if you were at my talk upstairs just before lunch, because you're probably going to hear the same thing. And we'll be covering some similar topics as well. But yeah, a little bit about me. I'm Zach Bennet from the UK, if you haven't guessed. And I'm a Microsoft Teams MVP. And I work at a company called LoopUp. We're an operator connect and direct as a service provider. I'm a co-host of a podcast called 365 Explained, where we will choose a topic from the 365 kind of ecosystem and dig into that. I run it with another MVP called Ben Lee, if you know him, and it's basically, we'll choose something. I'll ask some silly questions, and Ben will actually give us what the proper answer is. Where you can find me though, YouTube channel. That's where I'll post, some videos around Teams Phone, configuring things like dial by name, what call queues are, what auto attendants are, those sorts of things. So if you're looking for any video guides or anything like that. Teams Phone content, it says weekly on there, which it definitely shouldn't say weekly. But LinkedIn articles, that's probably where you can find me the most. I'll be on LinkedIn posting on there, just around what's new, what's changed with Teams Phone, that sort of thing. And empowering cloud briefings, if you've not already seen them, it's effectively something that's ran by an MVP where they'll go out to subject matter experts and we'll do videos and post it up there. It's not paywalled or anything like that. But definitely go inside of there and watch some of those briefings. A little bit of an agenda for today. We're going to be talking around, before we can understand what the advanced features are, we'll be talking around a little bit around what those core features for Teams Phone actually are. So we'll be jumping into call queues, auto attendants, that sort of thing. And we'll take a deeper dive into some of them around the advanced calling you can do with those as well. We'll talk around the Queues app, which is Contact Center Lite application. We'll talk around some common area phones and some of the advanced features that you have alongside those. Hotline, that sort of thing. Some stuff you can do around common area devices. Then we'll take a little deeper dive into some of the advanced call routing features. So call queues, auto attendants. We'll talk around callback, call prioritization, some of the things that are more newer to the Teams Phone experience, but you may not know about them. So it's good just to have an understanding of those. We'll touch on some voice application policies, or this is effectively a way for you to be able to pass some management back to users that you trust, leads, supervisors, that sort of thing, to be able to make changes to call queues and auto attendants to free up some of your IT time. We'll talk around the SIP gateway. So if you're not familiar with that, it's basically a service that Microsoft have where you're able to register SIP devices directly with them. And we'll talk around some of the scenarios of like intercoms, pages, DECT, that sort of thing. Some of the things you may not expect to be able to integrate within Microsoft Teams Phone, but can. And then we'll touch on some real-world examples from organizations that I've worked with that are using some of these features that we mentioned effectively. But before we jump into Teams Phone core features, I just wanted to make a mention around connectivity options. So there's 4 main connectivity options, 3 of those being the SDN and 1 being a mobile option. But effectively, the things we're going to be talking about today are going to be available across all of these different types of PSTN connectivity. Okay, we'll start with Teams Phone Mobile because that's the newest and the kind of the one that's a little bit left field compared to everything else we're talking about. But this is effectively having your mobile numbers in Teams. Okay, so there are a few providers out there that you can use with Teams Phone Mobile, and it will effectively turn your DID or your number that you have in Teams as an endpoint for a user into a mobile number. Okay. Next, we have calling plans. So this is Microsoft's PSTN connectivity method. That's effectively Microsoft being the telco. Uh, and some smaller organizations may lean towards calling plans just because of the ease of setup, ease of use, that sort of thing. Um, Next, we have direct routing. So this could come in some different flavors, and especially if you're in a um, more of a hybrid environment or more of a feature-rich environment, you maybe tend to lean towards direct routing. With your own SBCs, bringing your own carriers, figure in physical, virtual SBCs, that sort of thing. Um, there's also a managed element to that as well, so you can get direct routing as a service. So you can go out to a company that hosts the SBCs on your behalf. So they will manage that. Effectively, you can leverage their SBCs in the cloud or wherever they are to be able to access the SDN calling. And then lastly, Operator Connect. This is effectively direct routing as a service, but Microsoft have put a rubber stamp on it. So this is there's about 106, I believe, operators on the Operator Connect portal. But effectively, you go to Microsoft and you certify your service. So you manage service, you manage SBCs. With Microsoft, you agree to stringent SLAs and all this sort of thing to be able to be on that program. You certify that you can actually deliver in those countries and continue to deliver. Consistency, quality, that sort of thing. Um, a lot of customers gravitate towards Operator Connect, but for our use cases today, the features and the things that we're going to be talking about, they're gonna work across the board. Okay, so let's talk around some of the core features that you're going to get from Teams Phone. It is a way for you to make and receive PSTN calls. Okay, so PSTN being the public switch telephone network. Um, Teams being your PBX or Teams Phone, which is the name of the PBX software, uh, you're going to expect, or you're going to be able to use some of the PBX functionality that you would expect from all PBXs out there, being able to dial numbers inbound and outbound, things like placing calls on hold, forwarding calls, also transferring calls as well. So we've got a screenshot from the Teams application in the bottom right. You can see on side of there, access to a dial pad if you need to use DTMF tones. So very basic calling features. You're going to be getting that out the box with Teams. Transfer types. Teams has two transfer types: consultative and blind. Blind is effectively pass to the other person and it will ring them. It's quite a nice feature on Teams as well. There's a little box you can tick that says "ring me back" if there's no answer. So once you make a blind transfer, you can actually, if the other person doesn't answer at the other end, that call can come back straight to you. So that's quite nice. And there's consultative transfer. As you can expect, consultative transfer with Teams, you're in the Teams ecosystem. You can make chats, you can do voice one-to-one calls, you can make PSTN calls. However you want to consult before transferring that call. Next, another core feature, Call Park. Call Park is one of those things your organization will either want it and desperately need it or never even care about it, never even hear about it. But it's effectively what you're able to do is take a call, place it on hold, and then that will effectively be like a queue that it can be picked up with a code. Imagine it in like a warehouse environment. Someone on the floor pick up the call on line 11, something like that. Then someone on the shop floor could pick the phone up 11, and then they pick up that call. Okay. Then group call pickup. So you can create and manage group calls. So you can enable these and configure these via the Teams Admin Center via calling policies. But with group pickup, what you're able to do is effectively, if you get a call, your group will also get that notification, and there'll be a banner across the top saying it's a call for Zach. So you know if it's a call for you or a call meant for your group. that up as well. Just a nice little feature to make sure that calls don't get lost, and then they can be picked up by anybody in the team. That's the way you work. Voicemails, still a big thing with PBXs. I know if you ring me on the PSTN, you'll get forwarded to voicemail because I don't want to answer your call. But with Teams Phone, you're gonna get access to cloud voicemail, and importantly, there's some policies and things. Apologies if you can't really read that, but in the Teams Admin Center, there's certain rules and things that can be applied to those voicemail policies. Um, but as well as this, it will arrive in two places. So it's going to arrive in your Teams client under the calls tab in the voicemail. You can see that there, see a transcription, um, play it if you want, so you never even have to listen to the voicemail. And it will also land in your Outlook Exchange mailbox as well. It will arrive in those two places. Caller ID. So being able to not just dial outbound as your own number, and we do get this request quite a lot from customers, but having the ability to dial out as a main line, dial out as a shared call queue number, something like that, definitely possible in Teams. There's a couple of different ways around doing it. So in the bottom right hand corner, you can see my dial pad. I can call as myself, or a Spanish queue, a US queue, or a Germany queue. What that will do is that will make the outbound call as the number that I have associated with those call queues in Teams. Um, Another way you can do this as well is you can force it over your agents as well via caller ID policies. So even though they have their own DID and that sort of thing, you can force to say any call that this person makes outbound is going to display as our mainline number. We have some organizations that, even though users have their own personal DIDs, they just want to have everybody show as the mainline number when they're dialing outbound. And then it's up to the user to give out their personal number if they want people to call them directly. Shared calling. So not sure if you've come up against this one, but it's effectively a way for users to be able to share one number uh, to dial outbound over the PSTN. Say up to 10,000 users. Um, I've had one customer ask if that's real because they actually wanted to put it out to 10,000 users sharing one number. Um, I assume it's real. I have no reason to say it's not, but that's a lot of people to share one outbound number. Um, but think of it as a potential massive cost saving, especially in the US. It's kind of commoditized for PSTN. It's not the most expensive thing, but when we're talking about some places like Japan, China, some of the other parts of the world where a DID is 15 bucks upwards, then shared calling can really help in those sorts of scenarios. Uh, Probably best practice, I would never say have it shared between 10,000 people, because for one sole reason is this is outbound. But if everybody wants to call inbound to a particular user, how do we handle that? The way shared calling handles that is shared calling policy is actually assigned to a number, which is assigned to, we can see in the bottom right, it says assigned voice app, SAA. That's an auto attendant. So anybody that dials back onto that number will get through to that auto attendant. Okay. Do things like dial by name, have those sorts of things, or pass to an operator and then the operator transfers the call to the person that they need. But you can see how it can get a little unwieldy if you have massive groups of users sharing. Another thing is emergency calling. Okay. So especially in the US, it's a big thing to talk around emergency calling. Um, Dynamic E911, those sorts of things, Ray Barnes Act and Carries Law. Still works with shared calling, so it still take your location information and pass all that through the correct PSAP if your provider will do that. But what it will do is there is a way you can assign emergency numbers to this as well. So you have a number that people dial outbound as, but when you make an emergency call, it will reserve that number with you for 60 minutes. Okay. So if someone, the emergency services needs to ring you back, They ring back that number, they're going to get back through to that person, in case the line drops or something like that. Yeah, yeah, it's hard to set that 60 minutes. And the reason why it's we tend to say if someone wants to use this, have a 10-to-1 ratio. Um, so like 10 users sharing sorry, if you had 10 numbers, then you'd have one extra emergency number. Or if you had 100 users, you have 10 emergency numbers available, just for the sole reason of if someone else makes an emergency call during that 60 minutes, if you don't have a backup emergency number tuck, it's going to take it off the first person. Okay, so it's usually depends how risk averse you are as an organization, but having a few emergency numbers set up is usually good practice. Yeah, calling will work with calling plans. It will work with direct routing and direct routing as a service. Um, Operator Connect, it will work if your operator allows it. Okay, so not all operators will across the board allow shared calling. All right, multi-line, fresh off the press. This is a new feature that we've been waiting for a long, long time for Teams Phone, and this is the ability to have multiple numbers assigned to one person. Okay, sounds kind of like a non-brainer, but Teams Phone hasn't had this ever before. What we did have previously is private lines. So you can have a primary number attached to you. And it's very important that that primary number, the country of origin, has to match the user's usage location. Or if you're in the US, you have the usage location set to the US. Okay. Private line. This is an inbound only number that you can give out. And we've had this for a little while. The thing with private line, it has to match the number type as your primary number. So if you have an operator connect number, your private line also has to be an operator connect number. You can't have a direct routing or a calling plan number. Okay. Now with multi-line, you can have your one number, your one private line, but then you can have up to 9 additional alternative numbers. Okay. These can be of any type as well. So you can have an OC number, a DR number, and a calling plan number, all assigned to one user, which is super nice. The only thing that matters is your primary number has to match the user's usage location. So even though I'm in the UK and have a UK usage location, one of my multi-line numbers could be a US number. Okay. Yeah. So you mean have multiple voicemails? It's your voicemail is attached to you as an entity. Uh-huh. Got you. So you're saying share the number. Yeah. No. Yeah. 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 It's a good point to make though. So the question was, can you effectively have line 2 assigned to multiple people? And it's still the same. It's still the number has to be unique in your environment. So whether it's assigned to one user, one auto attendant, one call, it can be. Yeah. No, no. So when you do something like forward to voicemail, it's set across all your numbers. So if you want to be like, oh, I just want to be. Sorry, that question was, can you effectively edit the inbound routing for your alternative numbers to like voicemail, etc. And you can. Effectively, when you're setting forward calls, you're saying all of your numbers forward. No, it's your personal voicemail. So you don't get a voicemail per number. You get a cloud voicemail as an endpoint or as a user, and all of your numbers will point back to that voicemail. No, this is user only. Although the reason for the pause. So the question was, does multi-line um, also affect like common area phones and phone devices? Um, there's another roadmap item for it coming to common area phones. So this specific technology, this specific feature we're talking about now is for a user, but there is the ability for common area phones to have multiple lines come in as well. Yeah, you definitely could do that. If someone ring one, they'd all ring. That would probably be your one downside to that. But if it's more of an outbound phone only, one in the kitchen, one in the reception, one in the break room, that sort of thing. Just wanted to have all the same number. You could do that. How we're actually going to dial outbound as this is I've just got a screenshot on the far right hand side where effectively when you choose to call someone from your list, you can call as and it will show the numbers. And similarly, so if you've ever done it via a call queue, under your dial pad and you press the out down arrow, it's going to show up the same way there. Instead of a call queue name, it's going to be the number you have assigned. Auto attendance. So some core functionality inside of here. Um, your auto attendance are your main lines into your business. Press one for sales, press two for support, that sort of thing. Um, configured by the admin center or PowerShell, however you would like to configure these. Um, yeah, they're effectively good things with auto attendance. You can do things like time of day routing, that sort of thing across these, but see them as your main lines into your business. And then call queues. Once the queues are in your business, how do they flow around your organization? How do they flow to particular agents and users? Good things with call queues, and we'll take a deeper dive into some of these, is the ability to, how we add these agents to the queues. We've got some different ways to actually add them. We could do users and groups. We could do via Teams channels. We could do via shifts as well. So there's different ways to actually decide who are agents within call queues, and exception handling as well. So we're able to do call overflow. So if we have 50 calls in our queue, the 51st call would go somewhere else or do something else. You have that. We have this exception. What do? We can do something else. Similarly, we have a call timeout, and if there are no agents available, what do we do with this call? So these are core features to call queues. The obligatory Copilot slide that has to be in every single presentation recently. But Copilot and Teams Phone, I would expect to see this more and more as Copilot develops, and Microsoft are going to push people to buy Copilot and use Copilot across their whole organization. Some of the features that we have in Teams Phone right now with Copilot is the in-call Copilot, so the real-time transcriptions, the usual things you would expect to ask it about the call. Yes, talking points, that sort of thing. There's also, this is quite a nice one for when you're transferring calls. This is a newer feature that we have. So when we come to transfer a call, we can see the transfer on the right-hand side. We can ask Copilot to summarize this and then chat that to a particular user that we're transferring this call to. So, I'm sure you've all rang people and organizations where you describe what's just happened, and then they go, I need to transfer you. And then you describe the exact same thing all over again. Hopefully, this would help customers that, don't want to do that in their own organization. You can say, this is the This is the summary, and then chat that over to a person as you transfer. Question? Great question. So the question was, transferring, what Copilot license do we need? Right now, we need the big boy Copilot license. So it's the full M365 Copilot, $30 a user per month. That's what you're going to need to be able to do this transferring and summarization for Teams Phone. This is, again, something new that if you're boring like me and read the What's New in Teams Phone blog, this got released on the latest blog, April's. Copilot call delegation. So we have the ability to create a personal attendant, and there are some PowerShell commandlets that go into this a little bit more around what you can and can't configure. This was the Learn documentation has actually been up for about a month, so we did know that this was coming. But now we've got some screenshots and some actual confirmation from Microsoft. But they're calling it the personal attendant. And effectively, you have to have the Frontier program enabled for your users. So if you've come across the Frontier program, effectively tap, or it's effectively like a preview that you can turn on for particular users to have access to Copilot-like features. Okay. What it can do for you, though, if anybody's got an iPhone and you've got the call screening turned on, where it will answer the call for you and it can see the transcript and see all that sort of thing. It's effectively that into Teams Phone. So it's a feature that when it landed for me, I turned on straight away. So when external people do ring me, it goes through to my personal agent. Cool things that come along with that. So you get this notification into your calls tab that there's a call coming through and your personal agent picked it up. You could choose to just pick that call up straight away and get into that call, and the personal attendant will stop answering and leave the call. The call, however, is recorded and transcribed. So another thing to bear in mind with that, because what the personal agent does, we can see a transcription down the right-hand side and a recording. If I just let that go and let my personal attendant kind of answer that call and deal with it, I'll get a notification in my calls tab. I can come back to it. I can listen to both what the agent and what the person ringing in actually said, and I can hear that conversation with the AI, and then choose to call back from there. A couple of things with this. For me, personally, as a consultant, I deal with a lot of external people. So the flags for this right now are, if you want it on for everyone, so this is internal and external calls, or what you can do is you can turn it on for only external calls. Well, what that will do is, if someone from a customer was to ring me, they will get my personal attendant. But I may not want that, or a partner, or someone like that. We don't really have the delegation right now, or the ability to be more granular and say all PSTN calls actually go through to my personal attendant. Everything else, every team call, that sort of thing, will come through to me. So just something to bear in mind if you are going to play around and turn this on. And to answer the licensing question again, M365 Copilot. So you need the M365 Copilot license to get access to that. Question? The question was, will this work on a common area device? I don't believe it will. No. So those common area devices are logged in with resource accounts, effectively. Yeah. It's not going to work. Excellent. Let's talk a little bit around the Qs app now. And again, apologies for anyone that was in the other talk, because this is very similar. So the Qs app is effectively a Contact Center Lite experience that you can offer your users or customers. And on the back end, it's native Teams calling. call queues, auto attendance, that sort of thing, attached on the back end. Um, and we'll go into a little demo, and I'll show you what it looks like. Um, but effectively, it's a new experience that you can give to your leads and agents to be able to manage queues, see some more reporting, see more of a contact center screen than you would have had previously within Teams Phone without using something like a third-party ISV or something like that. Some of the things that will come along with this. Um, so it's pinnable in your client. So down the left-hand side where you see calls, chats, that sort of thing, you will also see the Queues app that you can pin, um, affording your users some queue management capabilities. So being able to manage multiple queues at once very easily, flip between them, opt yourself and also other agents in and out of those queues. Um, and with those voice applications policies, that we mentioned before. Um, you're able to do things like change membership and change routing methods for particular queues, all directly in your Teams client. Then we have some reporting. We have both real-time reporting and some historical reporting, and all of this available directly in the Teams app, in that Queues app. And then just to make special mention to the feature of monitor, whisper, badge, takeover. So this is a feature that a lot of people potentially will look for in a contact center, and it was something that when Q's app was announced, it was announced to follow. To give Microsoft the due, they definitely delivered. It's now available and has been for a little while, but it's effectively a way for you to monitor customer calls, agent calls, and then whisper. So whisper just to the agent, and then barge into the call. So both the user and the customer calling in and the agent can see you in the call and hear you in the call. And then lastly, you can choose to take over that call. So you'll kick the agent out, and it will just be you and the end customer. Yeah, question? Great question. Great question. So the question is, does everybody need the premium license? Um, So some of these features that I've mentioned are definitely lead-only features. So you could, if you wanted to, only license your leads. So for your example, I will license my lead for the queue, and the agents that assign that queue that are just answering calls, they don't need the premium license. I can still monitor, whisper, barge, takeover, and all their calls. So you could just, and this is how we've, at least with me speaking to my customers, we've got Q's app in by just saying, start with your leads, give them access to this. But some of the features that we'll mention, if I remember to put them in this deck, is around shared call history and voicemail shared history. That's more of a feature you would want all of your agents to have, not just your leads. Yeah, because the Q's app becomes the interface. They can't get in to see the interface without the Q's app. Okay, let's jump into a little viewing of the Q's app. Hopefully you can see that okay. But effectively what we have here is the Teams app, and down the left-hand side, you can see things like the chat, calls, the queues. Let's reload this. Hopefully I'm still connected to the internet. And this is the Queues app that you would expect that you're going to show your users. Okay, so at the top here we've got me logged in. I could choose to opt myself in and out of that queue very quickly, and up here we also have the other queues that I am added to. So I can jump between these queues very quickly, and you can see that the interface changes there. But this example, We've got one other person that's in the queue. I can choose to opt them in and out of that queue. So I've got that management capability there. Um, Here we have some of the reporting. So this would be the real-time reporting for the queue. You can see when it last refreshed up here. And to be perfectly honest, it is real time. It's not near real time, which is what's been slated in the past from Microsoft. Um, and you can see the calls come in. One just testing, 1 or 2 seconds, and then they're actually showing up as waiting calls within that screen. Great question. So the question is, are there any wallboard features? That's one of the things that I think um, is missing from the Qs app, just for the sole reason of there is no web interface for the Qs app. So you have to have a desktop experience. Um, so if I wanted to do this, this would be perfect for a wallboard scenario. But if I wanted to do this is what would have to go up on a screen. So I would need Windows machine or Mac or something plugged into a screen to be able to show this wallboard. But then you're talking a fully licensed user, so that's someone with Teams phone, and the premium license to just be a wallboard. I don't think so, although I've never tried. Um, yeah, there's no. I don't think on a Teams room device there would be any sort of Qs app that you could pin or put anywhere. So the Qs app has actually been announced on Teams phone devices. So if you've got like the Poly touchscreen devices or anything like that, some of the A-Link touchscreens, you can have a Qs app experience on that physical hardware phone. Things like reporting won't show up on there, but being able to manage the queues, opt in and out of queues, do that sort of thing, you can do that from a handset. And as well as that, the mobile app as well. So Q's app on mobile, that is slated to start rolling out in May. So you can have on iOS and Android the Q's app. So within your Teams app, that you'll be able to choose the Q's app and so here's that real-time reporting. This is a service level threshold report, which is something that they added to call queues. So when you create a call queue, if you've done that in the Teams Admin Center, one of the first questions it asks you is around this service level threshold. You can, if you choose to set that on or off, um, this is where it surfaces that information. It doesn't go anywhere else. So not in the Power BI reports or anything like that. This is where it actually shows up. See things like the waiting calls, what the longest call waiting has actually been, abandon percentage, stuff you would expect to see, from standard um, reporting functionalities. Offered calls, actually where those calls went. Was it abandoned? Did it go to an agent? Did it go wherever it went um, around your organization? Down here, we have the ability to do some of those management features that I was talking about before. So queue management, I'm just going to click settings. You will have noticed it opened up the settings on my Teams client, go to calls, and then it shows that call queue. Some of the things you can change inside of here, important ones like membership. So you can come inside of here and change who is a member of that particular team. If you think about this previously, that might have been a ticket to IT, then wait 3 days for IT to respond, and then add that person in, and then wait 12 hours for replication. Now it's something that you can trust specific people to do to come in and manage those queues. Again, those leads. Change things like routing methods. So again, you can see these are the standard routing methods that you get with call queues, because that's all we're using on the back end. It's call queues. And you can see inside of here, if you've ever configured a call queue in the Teams Admin Center, these are the same things that they're asking you, it's the same steps. But instead of having a Teams admin role, you're able to make those changes. Things like greetings as well. So some of these features for managing these queues, some are premium features, and some are not. Okay, so the things like management of the membership and changing the routing methodologies, that sort of thing, they're premium features. So anyone who wants to change those settings needs to have the premium license assigned to them. Things like greetings, for example, though, so on both auto attendance and call queues, you can set people that want to just change the greeting. You don't need a premium license for that. Come and change the things like the exception handling that I was mentioned before. So choose where calls route when there's a specific number of calls in the queue, specific time, um, and you can see some of these options down here. Again, if you've configured call queues before, they'll look very similar to you. It's the same ones that you can choose in the Teams Admin Center as well. Excellent. Go back to the queues app. So we have here a shared calls section. And what you're able to see in here is the ability for to be able to see missed calls that will hit into here. So you can see we have one at the top here that says unresolved. We have one below here that says resolved, and this one in progress. So what you're able to do, and this is one of those features that you're going to want to license all agents to be able to do this. You're going to be able to come inside of here and see individual missed calls, and then make let's say this one, for example, set to resolved. I can come in here and change it to in progress or change it to unresolved, that sort of thing. And there is a small little audit tracker here that says this has been updated to in progress. So you'll see a little timeline of what's actually happened to that call. So it's available if you have the Queues app, because that's where they're surfacing the information. So normal users that wouldn't have the premium license wouldn't have access to Queues app, so wouldn't be able to see this sort of thing. Correct. Yeah. So your agents in the queues need to have the premium license and assigned to be able to come inside and check this. Okay. Conscious of time, so we're just going to jump back to my slide deck. Yep. Which features that? Yeah, so that is the shared call history. Yeah, there is a learn page for it. I'm pretty sure. I can dig it out for you. Agent experience. We've kind of got over this, and we've seen what they look like within the Queues app itself. And then you have that supervisor experience. So you kind of have those two different views. Reporting. We used to have 27 days. Now we have 45 days. So that's a good, although probably not amazing if you're talking to financial organizations, some other, but we're getting there. We're getting a little more. I'd like to see 6 months, that sort of thing. But what we have right now is 45 days. Okay, let's go on to some of the common area phone advanced features. So what common area phones are? They're shared devices, okay? They're licensed via the Team Shared Device license. So they changed the name recently. I say recently, it wasn't that recent. They have changed the name. It used to be Common Area Phone License. Effectively, this will include Teams Phone. So if you're setting up Common Area phones, that's the only license that you're going to need, is that Teams Shared Device license. Don't buy Teams, don't buy Teams Phone, extra add-ons or anything like that. You just need the Shared Device license. There's lots of certified phones, Android phones, Yealink Poly audio codes that are all common area devices, but they're great in lobbies, break rooms, these shared experience, meet room areas, that sort of thing. Line keys, again, this is something that you either use or you don't use, but but there are some touchscreen options, and which Link, audio codes have got one out at the moment. If you want to go see one on the floor, you can have these sidecar experiences. And something that's newer as well is that these line keys can actually be configured from the Teams admin center. You as an admin can choose to upload CSV and push out to these shared lines. So reception scenarios, that sort of thing. Everybody can have the same layouts and also contacts. Question? Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So you can have external PSTN numbers assigned to those live keys as well. Yeah. So the local pizza joint or someone next door, you can configure those. Yeah. Something that's newer as well. You're actually able to manage contacts on these common area phones directly through TAC. So if you want, facilities, reception, kitchen, that sort of thing, to always have the same setup, the same place for uh, all contacts on the screen. You can do that, and that can be configured from an admin level. You don't have to go around to each phone and configure it or anything like that. PLAR or hotline, if you've heard of this before, it's effectively you pick up the phone and it starts dialing a number straight away. Okay, it's used a lot in taxi, local taxi number, just a phone that's in the reception, or a security office, something like that. If you want to automatically ring that office. Importantly, you need to turn advanced calling features on under the configuration profile in the Teams admin center. So there's a hotline key that needs turning on, and advanced calling needs turning on as well to get that hotline function. Bear in mind, if you want that phone to also be a phone, then don't put hotline on it. As soon as you do that, as soon as you pick the phone up, it's going to start ringing. It's not being used for anything else but that. Okay, let's go through some of the more advanced call routing features that you can have within Teams Phone. So we've gone through a little bit of the basics around, DTMF, that sort of thing. But time of day routing is another one, another main reason to use auto attendants. So you can have schedules for when I'm in hours, ring these particular numbers. When we're out of hours, do something else. Okay. Question? Yes. Yeah. The line keys are set per phone. Yeah. Yeah. If it was a common area phone, what you're able to do now is configure those from the Teams admin center. So all of the phones that you choose will get the same line keys assigned to them. It shouldn't go away. Got you. Yeah. 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 So a true shared phone device where someone's logging in and out of that phone is removing shared line, that sort of thing. So with auto attendants, it's important to remember that you can also have multiple numbers assigned to a single auto attendant. Um, so I've done some work with some customers where they've kind of consolidated offices and they didn't want to lose that old number that people were ringing them on. So they kind of we can just assign that to the same auto attendant. Whichever number they ring, they go through to the same queues and all that sort of thing. That holiday and time of day routing that I mentioned, so this can be defined on a per auto attendant basis. This is where something like templates might be quite nice if you wanted to standardize opening hours across auto attendants. Right now, it's more of a PowerShell kind of job if you are making multiple auto attendants or anything like that. But they have made the job easier with and a little less confusing with this newer view that they have now, which clearly shows when is considered in and out of hours for your organization. At LoopUp, we actually use auto attendance and call queues to build our 24/7 all of a sudden support. So that's literally what we do. When it's considered out of hours, we just forward on to another set of auto attendants. Call queues. So these are the routing methods for call queues. If you are unaware of these, standard, routing, attendant routing brings all the available agents. Serial routing will go through the defined order. Round robin will try and evenly distribute throughout the day. We have longest idle, which is effectively it's using that team's presence availability that you have. Whoever has been green or available the longest, they're going to get that next call. And then lastly, what you're able to do is turn on presence-based routing for all of these particular routing methods. So you're able to say, in this attendant routing, if presence-based is turned on and I can see that you're in a call, teams will not try and present that call to that agent. Question? Yeah, I think for now the answer is presence-based. Presence-based routing and yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, it is. It's a problem that we. Yeah, yeah, 100%. Um, busy on busy. You can change busy on busy settings. Um, yeah, there are busy on busy settings. That won't affect the queues. Exactly. The agent would still be presented the call. Yeah, because it's for the queue. Callback in queues. So this is quite a nice feature. This is native Teams core, as we call it, core calling capabilities. No premium license required, but you're able to offer callback functionality to users. So they can ring in after a certain amount of time, after there's a number of calls in the queue, or if there's a specific call to agent ratio, then it will offer a callback. Bear in mind, the call queue timeout configuration will also affect callback. Because you can configure this in the Teams Admin Center now, you get a nice little notification to tell you that callback's never going to be enacted because timeout's going to take effect first. Yeah, just something to bear in mind. On there, just conscious of time. So this is effectively just a demo for what the user would hear. After the tone, tell us who we should ask for, and then this is all information that you cannot change. Okay, so this is all pre-baked. Even things like if you do not receive a call back within 5 minutes, you can't change that to say 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Please try and call again. This is just default text, and right now is uneditable. And then when the callback is initiated, the agent gets the call first. Says this is a callback. Please ask for, and it inserts a little bit of audio, and then it will dial outbound to that user that rang in, the customer that rang in, and then it will bridge that call. If for whatever reason that fails, there's also an email that gets sent to an Outlook group. Call prioritization. So within call queues, you can set priority of calls. So calls routed to agents quicker and more efficiently if you have a VIP queue or something like that. Any specific configuration, any default call queues are all set to 3, and then you can change the prioritization from there. We had a great question in the last talk around this, this is configurable via PowerShell. If you configure this via PowerShell and touch any of the call queue in the Teams Admin Center, you'll lose all your prioritization. Okay, so something to bear in mind. Hopefully, this will land intact soon, which will fix that issue. Voice applications policies. So this is what we can configure in the Teams Admin Center to allow particular business unit owners to be able to manage particular things on their queue. This was one of the things that we saw inside of the Queues app as well, being able to manage the membership, that sort of thing. And it's configured via voice application policies you've assigned to users in the Teams Admin Center. Again, some of those are set behind premium licensing. All the good ones are behind the premium licensing. The SIP gateway. So the SIP gateway will effectively Microsoft hosted service that lets compatible SIP phones register to it. Okay, it's a voice-only workload. Yes, FACT will work with it, but it's unsupported by Microsoft, and video is not on that list. So some of the things you come onto, like Intercoms, it's important to remember it's a voice-only workload, SIP gateway. Great way for you to reuse existing hardware, or if you're in, a warehouse-like environment and you've got phones on the wall that get smashed off every other week, you don't have to spend $200 on a Teams phone. You can get a cheap device and have that up. Supported devices, we got DECT, some Wi-Fi phones, desk phones, speakers, intercoms, paging adapters, that sort of thing. SIP gateway can have an awful lot of devices with it. There is a compatibility device page for you to go to and have a look at exactly what's available. We are coming up to time slowly. So DECT, this is a wireless environment, wireless technology for cordless phones. Sorry, I am going to be skipping through now quite quickly. Please come and grab me after if you want to discuss any of these in a lot more detail. I will be around. Intercoms is a big one. So there are intercoms, Algo, 2N. These are some devices that allow you to register these directly the SIP gateway. Bear in mind, if you have 2N devices, there's a $99 fee that you have to pay to enable that service. Algo do not have that. Algo are here, go chat to them. Paging, Axis, this is a new set of devices that have just hit the SIP gateway. I think it was a few days ago now that they're now on there. Algo also have these. This is a sort of environment that you don't have to forget about with Teams Phone. So if you have more warehouse or more blue collar environments, you're able to still bring some of those workloads into Teams. You don't have to keep an aging PBX around to just serve these sorts of things. Look at some of the brands on here. These are all types of brands that do devices for the SIP gateway. Like I said, check the compatibility list on the bottom here, and you can, I'm sure, find a device that will fit your needs, or you may already have one. Quick mention, the Cisco ones, they're going to need the MPP firmware. So if you've got Cisco devices like the ATAs or phones, they need the MPP firmware to be able to speak. Excellent. We unfortunately are out of time, so I will skip the real-world examples. We can just spend the last 15 seconds answering that question. That video for the SIP gateway, yeah. My honest answer is I don't think they'll ever do it, but because they say time and time again that SIP gateway is a voice-only workload. It's not meant for facts. It's not meant for video. People like CyberTwice and CyberGate, they do video intercoms. Yeah. I'd love to chat to you about that because I haven't had a customer that's actually deployed it yet. But yeah, I don't know. As MVPs, we always bring it up. We always ask about this, but I think it's quite low on the totem pole. Copilot's a little higher. Cheers, everyone. I will be around. Come and have a chat.